Odds are you won't get to sit on Santa Claus's lap this Christmas season, but I'll bet if you did get to talk to Santa, you probably would ask him for something having to do with your computer. Well, today we've got a great list of gift ideas for the computer user on your Christmas shopping list on this special holiday edition of the Computer Chronicles.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible by Leading Edge, makers of IBM-compatible computer systems, including Lotus Lookalike Spreadsheet, word processing with spelling correction, communication software, and Hayes-compatible 1200 baud modem. Leading Edge, with over 1,000 service centers nationwide. Additional funding is provided by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte. Byte's detailed technical articles on new hardware, software, and languages cover developments in computer technology worldwide.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stewart Cheifet. Gary Kildall is off Christmas shopping somewhere, I think. And sitting in for Gary this week is George Morrow. George, I want to show you something. This is my wallet. I'm not going to give you any money now. These are credit cards, and I want to show you one very special credit card. Look at this baby. Happens to have an alphanumeric keyboard and a 2K memory in here. I have my Christmas shopping list in here. Look at this. I can punch up somebody's name, and that's what I'm supposed to get that person for Christmas.
How long did it take you to put all that stuff in there, Stewart?
What's the difference? I had a lot of fun doing it,
That's
George.
true. That's true.
This is just a little example of a kind of high-tech computer present that you could get someone who's into these things for Christmas. That's what we're talking about today, good ideas for Christmas presents for computer people. Let me ask you a serious question, though, about this season. The Christmas season is very important, in fact, to lots of businesses, department stores, and so on. How important is the Christmas season to the computer industry?
Well, this year I think it's going to be a little bit more important than usual because the tax laws are all ending, Stewart. All the tax changes are now going to be in place at the beginning of the year, and people are going to be spending money sometimes on equipment this year that they wouldn't have normally. And the other side, the little bit lighter side, is that I think in the computer industry that hope beats eternal, that each Christmas they will find a product that will find its way into the homes and hearts.
The home market really will exist.
Right.
Well, we're going to find out. We're going to be joined soon by Paul Schindler and Wendy Woods, so you can hear directly from the experts about some great Christmas gift ideas that you can buy in a computer store. We'll be right back. Stay with us. With us now in the studio is Paul Schindler, whom everybody knows is our software reviewer and specialist here on Computer Chronicles. And next to Paul, Wendy Woods, our specialist on just about everything dealing with personal computers. And of course, George Morrow is back here. And we're going to be talking about goodies for Christmas that have to do with computers. And I'm going to take the liberty of starting because I have something sitting up there in the computer. If I can show you this, George, this is neat. This is a program called Business Simulator. It was developed by the people who teach in the MBA program at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. They took their case studies that they use and they put them all on a disc now, and for about 99 bucks, I think it is, you can buy these case studies. They call it Business Simulator. They say it's like a flight simulator. You can practice flying the plane and crash without killing yourself. You can crash a company without actually going bankrupt. So what you see right here, in this particular...
I should have gotten
Say it, George. In this particular model, you're running a little computer company. It shows you who your competition is, who the CEOs of the other companies are. We've got various things we can do. I can go in and read the Wall Street Journal, for example, and see what they're saying about my industry. And there's the, well, it's called the Business Journal, but we know it's a takeoff of the Wall Street Journal. I can go in and take a look at some other things. I can go in here and read annual reports from my company and see how the company's been doing. And let's see, I can go see a balance sheet, for example, in the annual report and go see what's going on there. I can go back. I can also go into the file and read memos that have been written in this company before I came over and took over as CEO here and see what people have been saying to each other. Here's a finance memo that's going to be in the file about possible bankruptcy. That sounds a little bit familiar there, too.
Yes.
Now, after you have all this information, you can actually go make some decisions about your business. So I go into Make Decisions, and you'll see we go into a decision menu here. Decisions about how am I going to price my product, for example. How much am I going to spend on advertising? What product mix should I have? Should I expand my factory capability, and so on. Once you do that, then you can go in and actually what they call process the decision, and it just simulates the business for 1 year, and you see what goes on. You then get back in and make your decisions again. The thing I like about here is that function R. If you get fed up with the whole mess, George, you hit R and you retire. See, and it's all over, and you don't have to face these problems anymore.
This is true simulation?
A true simulation, yeah. These are real case studies, as I say, that are used in training MBA students, and you can now, there are 6 of them, and matter of fact, the company says you can actually get these custom made now to your particular business with the particular competitors, particular product mix, and so on and so forth.
I should get one of those, Stewart.
It's kind of neat. Okay, George, I'm going to turn it over to you now, and I'm going to turn the keyboard over to Paul to get ready for his demo.
I've got Norton Utilities. This has saved my life.
An oldie but goodie.
It saved my life twice this year. I had corrupted files, and I don't know what I'd have done. I'd have had to spend a month doing system programming. So it isn't perfect, but I have to say that it was awfully helpful to me.
Now, George,
you know, I'm a record collector.
Yes.
And I have this
monster database.
I have this monster database, 12 megabytes, and it was corrupted.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to go in and fix it with this thing. Otherwise, I would still be at the keyboard trying to program assembly language to go in and get that file. So it really helped.
You know, most of the more relatively normal of us who count on Norton to get us through our daily lives use the unerase feature. I just want to mention, some people have heard that there exists a package somewhere that will unerase a file that you've accidentally erased.
Right.
Well, this is it, and I want to be sure to mention that.
Yes, that's true, but there are 2 or 3 utilities you can get that'll unerase. Whether it does it as good as the Norton, I don't know. But as far as I know, Norton's the only one that'll let you actually go in and fiddle with a file if you need to.
Did not know that.
So your recommendation is Norton Utilities. Anybody doesn't have it, that'd make a great Christmas present.
If you've got critical data
Yeah.
that there's a chance you'll corrupt, it's good to have on your shelf.
I want to go to Wendy now for a minute while Paul continues to put his program together there. You have a mysterious white box in front of you.
Yes, this is a mysterious white box. Well, anybody who's been using spelling checkers knows how much memory a spelling checker can take up if you have it in RAM. And by the time you get to write your document, there's very little RAM left, unless you have a very powerful computer. Well, this is the first time that a spelling checker has been put in a box that's separate from your computer. What you do, this is from Xerox. It's hardware spelling checker. And it's from Xerox. It's called PC Type Write. And what you do is you plug this into the keyboard port in back of your computer, and then you plug your detachable keyboard into the box. And then what'll happen is, as you're typing, if it sees you type a misspelling, it'll beep so that you can stop at that word and make a correction. It's certainly the first one of this kind that I've ever seen. It's got a 100,000 word vocabulary.
Did you misspell something there?
Yeah, I think so. And it's also, you can customize it to add about 1,200 new words to it.
You know what it sells for, Wendy?
Right now it's $199.95. This just came out in November Comdex, so it's probably reaching the stores very slowly at this point, but $200 approximately, which is about what you'd pay for a good spelling checker anyway.
Well, it sounds pretty good. An oldie but goodie. She's got a newie but goodie here.
I think it's a fantastic idea, by the way, as a regular habitué of spelling checkers. Of course, in my case, they're only catching typographical errors because I am a perfect speller. But and I thought I'd jump in and mention that before you issued your usual caveat against spelling checkers. I know you don't care much for them.
No, I like them. I didn't think that I'd ever be able to say anything good about a spelling checker, but I'm using a spelling checker, not an online one. I use one that I check as I go along when I want to. It's an online spelling checker.
Okay. Right.
And I've gone from being able to spell about 60% of the words right to being able to spell over 95% right. You're looking at someone who never passed a high school English course.
Well, you know, if you spell 90% of them, maybe that's the difference. 98. Maybe that's the difference between success and failure in the computer business, George. Better spelling?
Maybe.
Paul, what toys do you have for us?
Well, I have, first of all, I'm a great believer in books at Christmas. I'm an owner. I have hundreds of books. Most of them I've already colored in. No, seriously, I have a large library at home, and I'm a lover of books, and I always like to recommend books for all holidays, birthdays and Christmas. And in conjunction with my colleague Richard Dalton of Keep Track Corporation in San Francisco, I have come up with several suggestions. First of all, the IBM XT Clone Buyer's Guide, which is an excellent $10 resource for people who haven't bought their XT clone yet. I mean, you and I both have ours, George, but there are people in this world who haven't bought theirs yet.
This is probably the only book on the face of the earth that's out of date 10 minutes after it goes to press, right?
Well, there is a problem with that, but what it does is,
certainly.
in addition to offering you specific advice, it tells you in general how to look for one. It's from Modular Information Systems in San Francisco, and then here is a book with a spectacularly uninspiring cover, but the point is the information, not the package. It's $25. $25, and it's called, cleverly enough, More Than You Ever Wanted to Know About Hard Disks for the IBM PC. All hard disks, it's $25. It's from Landmark Software in Sunnyvale, California. All, as you well know, George, in the disk controller business,
yes, yeah.
not all hard disks are created the same.
That's right.
And they have different access times, different prices. It's more, and of course, different capacities.
And different kinds of things can go wrong with them.
And different kinds of things can go wrong with them. This is a really thorough examination of just about all the hard disks there are.
Probably every user group should have 1 or 2 copies of that.
Absolutely, it's an excellent. It should be in every user group library and in a lot of personal libraries.
Paul, I'm going to ask you to
All right,
move
yes.
and show us
Okay,
this
this is
looking program.
this is Looking Your Best from One Step Software in Charlotte, North Carolina. $35. Now, I was rapidly entering some not very accurate information about myself. The idea of this program is it's a clothing advisor. It doesn't do your colors. You know, the hot yuppie trend of 1986. It doesn't do your colors.
There's only 16 colors in the item.
But it'll do your necklines. Now, unfortunately, I've got to say one negative thing about it. It doesn't distinguish between men and women. So when it shows me the neckline choices, as we noted when we were trying it out just before the show, it does.
Yeah, you wouldn't
offer
look too
you
good in that high cowl.
In the high cowl, I think it would be
Yes,
a little bizarre, but. And then it offers you choices of jackets. It goes through a very detailed description of yourself, your hip size, whether your shoulders are wider than your waist, which mine are at least for the next couple of years, and it's just chock full of advice based on things like the shape of your face and the size of your hips and all kinds of information that actually I had to think about quite a bit before entering.
Dress for success on a disc. Huh?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to move along now. We'll be back in just a minute. Take a look at some presents for people who have Apple computers. First of all, let's go out and see what effect this Christmas season is having on the sale of hardware and software.
December is here, and once again, computer owners are faced with a surging need to buy, much to the pleasure of computer retailers. Some owners are ready to upgrade their systems, while others simply want accessories or gifts for their computer-savvy friends. Whatever the motivation, sales are climbing, and retailers are optimistic.
Our sales this year have actually improved over last year, and sales going into Christmas last year I think were very, very high. Our current sales are running maybe 4 times what they were last year.
Many shops prepare for Christmas by increasing their stock of high-priced luxury goods. But computer vendors are in the awkward position of balancing sales between corporate buyers and the growing consumer market, which is also becoming more sophisticated.
In the past, people were looking for systems sometimes under $500. I think the average consumer is now budgeted from $1,500 to $2,000 for a computer system, and for our store, most of the consumer lines can be purchased for that.
This year's flashy newcomers, like the Amiga, the Atari ST, and the hard-to-get Apple IIgs, provide attractive floor demonstrations. But they may not have the lasting impact of lower prices and more powerful machines.
In 1979, we didn't have the variety of computers that are currently available for consumer use. The Apple II computer was selling for $3,500 for a 16K machine. Those are all under $1,000 now for 128K machines.
Boys and girls, we're back on the show here now. Just in case anybody thinks that Paul changed his clothes having watched that program, this is now Wendy and this is now Paul. And George, I have something I didn't get to show you in the last segment. I want to show you right now because it really relates to the business user, kinds of things we were talking about before. This is called the Business Consultant. They don't call it a calculator or a computer because I'm not sure Hewlett-Packard knows which it is, but it's a very impressive either little toy or terrific business tool. I'm not sure which.
Probably a little of both.
The nice thing I like about this, it has soft function keys in here, 6 of them, and you can define them any way you want with this alpha keyboard over here, create any formulas you want, and then you can solve them very simply. For instance, I created a formula here for figuring out the costs of my car rental. rentals. So I have variables in here like the daily rate, the number of days, the mileage rate, number of miles, the insurance cost, and I can now figure out the cost. I've already entered in the variables, and I say, okay, what should that car cost me? Calculates, boom, $226.25. You can go backwards, of course, also. Suppose I say, well, my budget only allows for $200. I want to define cost as being no greater than $200. I hit that function key. I say, now what's the highest daily rate I can afford to pay? And it tells me that rate is only $25.44. However, the pièce de résistance, that little printer over there,
Yep.
no wires, no cables, no cords.
Right.
Watch this trick. And it's driving that printer through an infrared beam. And it can work up to about 18 inches, 60 degrees. A great little business tool to carry around with you.
This you leave on the desk, this you carry with you.
Yeah, exactly. Infrared printer, amazing. One other kind of device I want to show you, which has nothing to do with business, this has to do with kids. And that's what Christmas is about, I guess. This is a delightful little thing. You can only buy this through mail order. It's from a company called Sunburst. They have an 800 phone number called the Muppet Keyboard. It's a great way for little kids to get comfortable with a computer. They don't have to learn about the complicated keys. They don't have to know QWERTY. You have little letters here. I've got something up now in which you teach kids about the alphabet. So I can hit H, for example, and I see a hamburger, right? The kid identifies.
Okay.
I can learn about numbers by saying, well, what does 3 hamburgers look like? Or what do 6 hamburgers look like, for example? And they do little tricks. And I can say, okay, what is G? Okay, well, it's ghosts. Okay, and they do little dances. And what is L? Okay, L is little lobsters. And what does S do for me? Little singing socks and so on.
Now, how does this plug into
Plugs
the
into
computer?
the joystick port on the Apple. And you have number input, colors, letters. The thing I like, it's simple for a kid. There's no enter key, it says go.
Right.
There's no escape key, it says zap. There's no delete key, it says erase. It's just a terrific little kind of user-friendly for kids way to interface with an Apple computer. What do you have for kids?
Well, this is for kids that are a little older. This is something that an aunt or an uncle is going to buy for somebody. This is the SAT software that prepares you for the SAT exams. There's about 6 or 8 discs here. It will tell you how much time to spend on questions.
George, I'm going to stop you saying, could you recycle that? Oh, she got it? Okay. Wendy's getting her program ready. Go ahead.
This will give you information on how to study for the tests, how much time to spend on questions. The SAT exams, of course, are getting like these entrance exams in Japan.
Yeah.
So the pressure to pass them is more intensive, and something like this is certainly probably a much better preparation than any of the books or things like that.
Certainly great for the high school level.
Well, I took
present.
2 of them, and I wished I'd have had something like this.
Well, I've played with this myself, too. It's very impressive, and it has a timer built into it. It has advice. It has different rates at which you can learn the stuff. It is very impressive.
So it's a perfect gift from an aunt or an uncle.
That's right. You were mentioning, Stewart, before we started the segment, there's a cram mode and a long-term learning mode, and I think that's absolutely excellent. So it's a little too late to buy it for this year, but for next year's students, there's plenty of time to teach them about that.
You have some neat-looking toys there, Paul.
If Christmas is for kids, then I guess this... Wow, gosh, I missed. Okay. Well, I'll keep trying. This is the absolutely hot toy. This is the product of the hot computer toy for this Christmas season. It's called Toy Shop. It's from Broderbund. It's $65. It's absolutely brilliant.
Those toys are all made?
These toys were all made from paper plans that come from the computer. Now, you say to yourself, well, you could buy a kit of paper plans, you know. And all right, so this catapult works. I've demonstrated that by shooting a couple of spit wads at you and Stewart. This carousel actually turns, and this car actually rolls. Now, I'm a 10-fingered klutz, and the Broderbund did these for us. I'm not sure I could do toys of this level of complexity, but I have done a couple toys out of it. I'm going to do several more before Christmas. 2 great things about it, really. It's a good project to do with your kids, and you can personalize these, put their name in, change the patterns.
Well, Paul, one of the real appealing things here is something that you can make a computer do something and actually put something together after you've had the computer do it.
Exactly.
And to make it clear, Paul, it really happens in the program. It's kind of a little mini CAD-CAM program, right?
Exactly,
It actually, you design it, and it prints out on your printer these parts, which you then use to build
then
the toy.
glue together and add wood, and it's so simple, even I can use it. And we're talking simple. Now, speaking of simple, one other quick thing I want to mention, the Pen Mouse Plus from Curta in Phoenix, Arizona, brand new, just out at Comdex, $300 for people who don't like mice. This is a little electronic pen, and if you move it around on the surface of this, it moves the cursor around on the screen. Now, we didn't demonstrate that because it took too much time to set up, but you know, allow yourself an hour or 2 to set this up, and if you hate mice, This
Is
is
it
an
kind of like a
alternative.
koala pad? Is that
It's,
the
yes,
idea?
it's like a koala pad.
I have to tell, we should warn our viewers though, this is a little transmitter there. And
Radio
if you
transmitter.
and if you get close to another RF source, a radio
Like a television set or a radio.
you can get some interference.
Right, so don't work it near a TV.
Wendy, what do you have?
Oh, this is a great game from Electronic Arts called Thomas Dish's Amnesia. Now, what this is it leaves you in the beginning without any clothes on in a hotel room. You don't know how you got there.
Wow.
This is a family show, Wendy. Okay.
You have to get clothes. You have to figure out why you're there. You have to figure out what your name is. And it's the most ambitious text adventure that apparently has ever been created.
So the
anyway,
character at the beginning has amnesia, basically. You don't know what anything is.
That's right.
He has nothing.
That's
He has
right.
no clothes.
It's two
no
discs
money,
you go
no
through.
Food,
All the
nothing.
games from Electronic Arts are great. I hate to give any company a blanket endorsement, but I've never
this is good.
played a bummer from these guys.
Well, this has been fascinating. Everybody who's been over at my house playing this has enjoyed it. Comes with a map of the Manhattan subway system, which is programmed into the discs.
That's one way to learn how to use the subway.
Cross-street indicator.
Wow.
It comes with a telephone directory of mysterious names, which are clues.
Including the FBI, I see.
Guide to New York City, right. Anyway.
And it's a text adventure game.
It's a text adventure game, and you go through this, and here, for instance, it's just presented you in the room. You don't know what's going on. First
Wendy,
command
does it
is
always
get up.
have the same outcome? Do you always...
No.
Oh.
No,
I have, so far I've been playing this maybe 5 or 6 times. First of all, I've ended up being convicted of murder, being tried and executed.
Ended up a guest on the Computer Chronicles Christmas show.
I've gone to purgatory. I've ended up on the streets of New
Wendy,
York.
I have one more toy there. We have a little bit of time. Show me what your other toy is.
Okay, this is a real cheapie. $10, great.
Stocking stuffer.
It's called the Chocolate Bite. It's created by the Chocolate Software Company. Only 3 months, right around the Christmas season, can you find this in retail stores. It's pure chocolate,
Oh, dear.
and it's very,
In the
very
shape
good. In
of
the
a floppy
shape
disk.
of a 5 1/4-inch floppy disk.
Can you open it up? Can we see what? Is it?
Well, it's a little broken
Oh, you
here,
messed
but
it up. Okay, like most
Anyway.
floppy disks.
Yes, that's right. It's easy
Anyway,
to.
it's very good.
Easy to. It is good.
It's
I've
good
had 2
chocolate,
of them
Good
myself.
chocolate.
Chocolate floppy disk.
It is very good chocolate. So,
Okay. Well, I think that's about all the time we have. We've seen lots of great toys here for
Yeah.
kids, for grown-ups. If you have a computer, if you know somebody who has a computer, here's some suggestions for you. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back in just a minute with this week's Computer News. In the Random Access file this week, as we get closer to the new year, rumors keep building about IBM's plans for new computers in 1987. Leading the speculation is the expected unveiling of the PC-2, a $1,000 PC featuring 3.5-inch drives, expanded memory, and enhanced graphics. The PC-2 reportedly will use a modified 8086 chip that will enable it to outperform existing PC clones. Analysts say the next step will be a flood of new software to take advantage of the new PC-2 design, software that will not run on the clones. The rumor mill has it that IBM will unveil the PC-2 in a Super Bowl commercial, and of course there are the usual rumors that Apple will unveil a new computer in the Super Bowl, possibly an MS-DOS compatible Macintosh. Other predictions for 1987 include the IBM version of a 386 machine, again using a specially modified version of the Intel 8386 chip. And finally, IBM will supposedly introduce an upgraded version of the PC convertible, featuring a better screen, built-in modem, 640K, and an optional hard drive. Ashton Tate says it will be coming out with subsets of its DBase 3 program for 386 computers. The company says it will unbundle DBase 3 so that the program's separate modules can take advantage of the power of the new 386 chip. Commodore says its QuantumLink online service has now become the second biggest online service for computer users, trailing only CompuServe. QuantumLink currently is only for Commodore users, but the company says it plans to open up the online service to IBM and Apple users sometime in 1987. For years now, people have been worrying about the possible health effects of sitting in front of a video display terminal for hours on end. Now, 2 doctors in Pennsylvania say the problem is not radiation from the screen, it's lack of circulation in the fanny. The doctors say they found evidence of blood clots in the thighs of computer users, resulting from sitting in one position in front of a computer for an extended period of time. The doctors say you should get up and walk around every now and then to stimulate circulation in the lower half of your body. Time for a look at software, and here's our reviewer, Paul Schindler.
Much as I'd like to spend some time looking you in the eye today, this package is so spectacular that, well, let's go to the screen. You're looking at Perspective, the best graphics package produced so far. The data for all these graphics comes from simple spreadsheets. They're controlled by 5 function keys, clearly indicated by a large menu. Get a load of this first set of selections that allow you to decide what kind of 3D graphics you want to draw. There are 32 choices here. You just point at the one you want. Then, from another menu, you select the view you want from a menu of 16 angles. Plus, if you don't like any of the 16 views that Perspective offers you, there's a rotation section which lets you look at graphs any way you want. Even if you don't want to change perspectives on a graph, this section of the program is fun to play with as a toy. Finally, the size and location of the labels can be adjusted easily. And this program will soon be available in color. Perspective is $300 from 3D Graphics in Pacific Palisades, California. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler.
Business Week magazine says this should be a good Christmas season for software sales. Best sellers are expected to be home printing programs like Broderbund's Print Shop and adventure games, especially Infocom's new Leather Goddesses of Phobos. If you're still looking for Christmas gift ideas, we have yet a few more tips for you from other sources. Syndicated computer columnist John Dvorak likes a new game for the Macintosh called Smash Hit Racquetball. And for the PC crowd, he picks Traveling Sidekick as a great gift item. On the hardware side, Dvorak suggests the Bectech Fanny Mac, a cooling fan for the Macintosh, or the Curtis Computer Toolkit, including pin straighteners, chip pullers, and other goodies. And Family Computing magazine has come up with its picks for the best computer gifts of the season. In hardware, the magazine picks the Atari 1040 ST as the best deal in a computer, the Tandy Model 102 is the best portable, the Toshiba P321 is the best printer, the NEC Multisync is the best monitor, and the Leading Edge Model L as the best deal in a modem. Finally, public television station WGBH in Boston has come up with an innovative way to raise money and take advantage of the high number of computer users in the Boston area. In February, WGBH will be conducting the world's first online auction as a fundraiser. Over 400 computer-related items will be up for bid, and all the action will take place online, not on the air. That means you can participate in the auction and watch Masterpiece Theater at the same time. That's it for this week's Chronicles. We'll see you next time.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible by Leading Edge, makers of IBM-compatible computer systems, including Lotus Lookalike Spreadsheet, word processing with spelling correction, communication software, and Hayes-compatible 1200 baud modem. Leading Edge, with over 1,000 service centers nationwide. Additional funding is provided by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte. Byte's detailed technical articles on new hardware, software, and languages cover developments in computer technology worldwide.